I am so excited for today's episode because I have Heidi McKay here with us, who is a certified foot zoner. And I'm excited to talk about foot zoning because, one, there are so many questions out there about foot zoning.
Mhm.
People think foot zoning is woo woo, or foot zoning has weird myths or things with it. And so I'm really excited to talk to you about foot zoning. Oh, and I should say, some people hate foot zoning. And I get that because at one time I was there. Some people love foot zoning. So we're going to talk all the things foot zoning. And before we delve in, and I'm going to tell why I liked it at one point, then hated it, then liked it. But before I go into that, why don't you just tell them what foot zoning is?
So there's a map of the body on the feet. And when you access the map, you have access to the entire body, every system and every organ. And through these ancient techniques that have been around for thousands of years and hundreds of cultures, it resets the body so that the body can go into a healing mode. The body has the ability to heal. And through this map on the feet, we set that into motion for the ultimate healing.
Well, I love that you say the body has or can heal.
Yeah.
We both totally believe that. Okay, but when I tell people about foot zoning and that their foot is a map and it all lines to each organ, they're like, that is so woo-woo. That's so weird. So what do you say to that?
Right. If we're in America, we think that because we are a newer established healing system. But if we look back to older established healing systems like traditional Chinese medicine, if we look back to the Incas, we have so much evidence, even in the Egyptian tombs, of reflex points on the feet correlating with the body and these techniques being around for thousands of years. So it is weird in the United States because we're babies. Our gift is Western medicine. That's what we're figuring out. But when we start to incorporate other cultural healing modalities, this is actually really ancient. It's very established. And it's not as woo. I think the new age healing is Western medicine, quite honestly. This is way more established.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to tell you why I liked it at first, and then we'll break it up and I'll ask you questions about this. So I liked it at first because I found it fascinating because the person that I was going to, I know you can't diagnose, right? In
No.
foot zoning.
Licensure does not cover diagnosing.
But you can suggest to go get something looked at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she was working on my feet and she was like, I would really suggest you go get a colonoscopy. She's like, I think I feel something in your transversal colon. And I was like, that is so weird. How are you feeling something in my foot that is in my transversal colon? And so I was like, you know what? Okay, I don't want to miss out. Like, if there's something wrong, I better find out. So I did go get a colonoscopy. And sure enough, there were a few polyps. And so they removed the polyps and it was in my transversal colon. And so I was like, I am a huge believer. So is that something that happens quite often in foot zoning? Like you'll feel the thyroid off or you'll feel something off and you suggest to them to go get looked at?
Yes. Oftentimes as a zoner, I believe we can tap into the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So sometimes there will be a thought about the physical body we can feel through that reflex points. And it's like, if it were me, I'd really consider exploring this avenue. I can't diagnose. I'm not telling you for sure, but if it were me, just based on what I'm feeling, yes. And you can feel things in the body on the feet. And you can't believe it until you feel it for yourself or you have a second witness like you. You have that impression. It resonated. I call it the green light. And you acted on it, and foot zoning provided a really cool miracle for you.
Okay, so after that happened, my kids were like, I want to be foot zoned. Where are they going to find a me? And so is it sort of like a crystal ball into your health?
I would say it is an awareness. We don't like to predict the future with foot zoning. That's something I caution against. And I've actually found foot zoning to be the space where you can learn about yourself and find your gifts and find your strength. I do not love it as a diagnostic tool or as a crystal ball, or I'm going to see if the foot zoner can see if my gallbladder's missing and it won't work unless I can tell they can believe that. If that's the layer of healing you're in, it will come up. But if that's not meant for you in that foot zone, it won't come up. So it's not a crystal ball. It's an awareness of what your body is telling you right then and right there, that communication that's most important.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few more questions before I tell you why I didn't like it.
Okay.
But you came to our house one time and you and some other foot zoners, and my daughter-in-law had a really bad cold and she had a massive headache, sinuses, hurting her. and you were like, oh, let's foot zone her. And so your friend foot zoned her. And that night she felt so much better. And so foot zoning is used quite often for more of a, can I say, healing aspect?
Oh, 100%. And when those techniques are accessed, your body knows how to heal. Sometimes we just hit a stall. Sometimes we have to reset the computer. And foot zoning is that opportunity to go through every system so those systems and organs can work together to clear out, to move. Because we know as quick as the body can get sick, it can heal. And foot zoning for me has been a miraculous nudge to witness in how bodies can heal.
And so if someone has a cold, there's certain points on their feet that they work on, and that helps alleviate the cold.
Yeah, we're going to hit the nose, the sinuses, the immune system, the lymphatic system. We're going to hit the liver. That has such a big role in helping the body to align and to clear and to clean and to support the immune system. So when you put all of those systems into motion, the body can't help but heal or show what it needs next to heal.
Okay, so I want to talk about the spiritual and emotional part of foot zoning in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to stay on the physical part.
Okay.
So I deal with a lot of stress. I know a lot of people out there do. And I know you tell me that foot zoning is good for stress.
Yeah.
So why is that?
There are thousands of points that correlate with the nervous system in the feet. So even if somebody doesn't know what they're doing and they start to rub your feet, people will calm down. When we just look at the physical anatomy of the feet, when I look at a Body Worlds exhibit of the feet, of a plasticized model of the foot, hundreds and thousands of different vascular points where blood is coming into the foot, and it's all connected to that nervous system. So when we start to access that and touch that, the body instantly calms down. In fact, I had a nurse manager at one of the hospitals send me her Apple tracking of her heart rate as she got foot zoned. She'd come in from a stressful meeting, super stressful time at work, and she recorded as her heart rate went down during the foot zone. And within 20 minutes of that zone, she was, I think, in the 60s for her. I mean, so completely calm, and then showed how that lasted and upheld the rest of the day, even though she went back to a stressful environment at work.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense, because even if someone does rub your feet, at least for me, I'm like, oh, yeah, that feels good. Okay, but I know people have used it for like even depression. Yeah. Some people have said it's been life-saving for them even. And so why is that?
Yeah, I think when we tap into the brain on the foot zone, your big toe is the brain. When we tap into and do over 50 techniques to align every single part, your endocrine system, your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the thalamus, the covering of the brain, the blood flow of the brain, the cranial nerves, all of those parts and pieces can't help but shift and change the trajectory for the expansion and experience of depression and anxiety. That was why I came into this world. That was my miracle with the foot zone, was watching depression lift with one of my children.
Oh, interesting. So that's what got you started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that something you want to share?
Yeah, it's what changed my mind about foot zoning. I didn't have a great experience with it at first, and we can talk about that later, maybe with yours. And I had a good friend shake me by the shoulders, and I was desperate. My oldest daughter, we were 3 years into the Western medicine journey of anxiety and depression. We were trying diets, we were eliminating things, we were doing supplements, and we could not get it to shift. And this was 15 years ago when this just was not talked about. And this good friend shook me by the shoulders and said, "Sister, you have nothing to lose. This is different. The way this foot zoner does it is different." And after 90 minutes, I walked out of a foot zoning session with my daughter, and she had been witnessed. She wasn't broken. She wasn't diagnosed. Somebody honestly witnessed her. They helped clear emotions. They helped her physical body, and they saw her as a whole person. And it changed the game for our family. We never looked back after that foot zone. She got consistent foot zoning, and after 3 months, my daughter was back.
So amazing. Something we should tell them, though, is that you believe in Western medicine a lot. But you also believe in the holistic approach of things. Yeah. And I love that you bring them together, that you're not, I love that you don't ever claim like, oh, only just do foot zone. That's going to cure all and be the one all thing. You're like, let's use foot zoning as a tool in the toolbox of many tools that are going to help people heal.
It's the and. I call it the and. It's Western and Eastern. They can coexist. And I have kids whose health and life are dependent on Western medicine And foot zoning aligns their body and gives them an incredible quality of life with the opportunities that they've been given to learn in their physical bodies.
Well, you've even told me before that foot zoning has kept them out of the hospital.
Yes.
Meaning it just gives them that added benefit.
Yes.
In situations.
In fact, my youngest has some incredible opportunities in life to figure out her low body. And as I was going over her blood work numbers with an immunologist about 1.5 years ago, he said to me, Heidi, keep doing what you're doing, because the numbers on her blood work, that little girl should be in the hospital every 2 to 3 weeks when she gets sick. He said, keep doing everything you're doing. And he knows I do the woo, right? And so I can honestly say foot zoning has saved and been a miracle for our family over and over with the and. Western's a gift, Eastern's a gift. It's all so beautiful.
I love that. And you've helped so many other people with foot zoning as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you why I hated foot zoning for a while. And so some of you who've tried foot zoning, maybe you've had this experience also. So I loved it because I was like, oh, it works. It, found the polyps in my colon. Well, then I started doing it regularly, and I just kept feeling worse and worse about myself mentally, because they would be like, oh, this is really off, or this is really stagnant, or, oh boy, your brain is on fire. It's on like overload, and you've got to do something about that. And you've got to work on your liver, and you've got to work on this, and you got to do this and this and this. And I'm like, well, screw this. Like, this is too much. Like, I can't be perfect.
Yeah.
And so then I hated foot zoning because it was like a negative diagnosis almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you see that quite often in the foot zoning world?
I have become aware of that and have had it happen for myself. And when I went through school to certify, I started seeing a different way to do it. I saw people coming in the same as my daughter and I. They wanted hope. They already knew they were broken in some way. They were super aware of what wasn't going well. So if I'm going to sit at their feet and be present with them for 90 minutes, how would I want that to look, and what gift was given to us? And what I started to find in this journey I took on 8 years ago was, it is not the root cause, it's the root wisdom. If we focus on the root cause, we miss the person. When we go to the root wisdom of what is the body expressing and why is that so hopeful, people leave different after you've sat with them at their feet. And that's my mission, is to educate in that way.
Interesting. Well, so I'll tell them I started to love foot zoning again when I met you. And so a friend had introduced us, you came in foot zone, and I had just been told like, oh, your brain is on fire. Like, there's so much going on. And then, so I was like, oh, she's going to tell me the same thing. It's just, my brain is always thinking of something, right? Like, I want to think about this, and then I want to think of how to plan this and strategize this. And my brain doesn't stop. But it's been that way like my whole life. And so then when you foot zoned my brain, or foot zoned my feet and got to my brain, you were like, you're blessed with a mind that just loves to go and is always thinking about things and doing things. And this is a powerful gift that you have. And I was like, what? I've never thought of it as a gift. Everybody's always told me it's negative. And you like turned it into a strength rather than a negative thing.
Well, your fire in your brain has lit the way for millions of people around the world. That fire in your brain gave you the experience of depression. That fire in your brain has led people to find you and to find hope. So fires can work both ways. They can cleanse, they can purify. They can also be really big and show others the message in the mess. And that's the gift.
Well, but your gift is you find the positive in things that are happening in people's bodies. And so let's talk about that. When you are on somebody's foot and you get to an organ and like the liver or something, and it's sluggish, what do you tell them?
Yeah, so the liver is our opportunity to understand how to deal with really uncomfortable emotions. The liver also, for the physical body, it's my favorite thing to talk about. It's the brain of your gut. It is pushing through so much. It's cleaning all the blood from all the other organs. It's creating bile to give to the gallbladder. It's helping to clear bacteria and virus. It's a major detox organ. And so when the liver is sluggish, the body's working hard. It just needs a nudge. When the emotional liver needs help, who would ever raise their hand to feel the emotions of anger and rage? Nobody. It's sluggish because we resist that. We judge ourselves for it. We shame spiral for that. So if we can sit in a foot zone and give someone the opportunity to listen to how anger feels in the body and to let it go through and to let it rise. That anger can turn into love. The anger can turn into peace. It's the polarity. It's that beautiful opportunity that we as humans have, this one beautiful life to live. How can it work for us? Which is your message. How are we not victims? How can we allow the opportunity of rage to go through the body so that it can rise to peace? It is such a gift.
Okay, so when you're foot zoning someone, you're looking at each organ physically and emotionally then.
Mentally, spiritually, 4 bodies. We are 4-dimensional.
So every organ has 4 dimensions to you.
Every part and piece of us. If I were to ask you, what's the higher function of your heart?
Love.
Give and receive, right? And so every part of our body has that. Every system and every organ has a higher wisdom, has emotions that are going on, has mental thoughts, rules that we place on it about it. And then there's a physicality to it that we're all familiar with.
Okay, so I think that's what's hard for people to accept.
Yeah.
Like they can accept that my gut digests food and it, they can accept the physical functions of the gut. But then if you're going to tell them the gut has emotions to it, they don't believe it. But then you tell them like, no, do you feel like sick to your stomach or queasy if you're about ready to give a speech or when you're going for a test or something? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, yeah, I do feel that emotion. And I'm like, well, then that's emotion.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we explain this to people? Or how do you get people to maybe believe that there are emotions in the organs?
I don't think it's a belief. I think it's permission. I think we need to be more vocal about giving people permission about the wisdom. Because oftentimes we don't give ourselves permission to feel an emotion because that amygdala is like, no, we have to be safe. We can't feel anything uncomfortable at all costs. No. And so we don't give ourselves permission to just allow the opportunity to feel afraid. Our stomach houses safety. So when we feel unsafe, it's going to start to ball up. Makes sense. I feel nervous and unsafe right now. If we can hold ourselves in that, and the foot zone can teach us that, that's a profound way to live as a human.
Yeah, that is. Okay, I'm curious. Do you see a common thread in a lot of people's foot zones?
I think the common thread would be not a specific technique, not a specific organ or system. The common thread is every person wants to be seen. Every person wants to be given permission to be who they are. And when we can peel away the nonsense and we can calm the nervous system down and we can state emotions, that's the authentic self. When we realize life is messy, every experience has a different layer. We're always on the cutting edge. There's a profoundness of giving people permission to be who they are and to allow them to be in the mess.
Okay, so that makes me think we've been grown to and raised to like hold on to our emotions or trap our emotions. Mm-hmm. We don't release them very well, I think, as a society. Yeah. So is foot zoning helping people release those emotions?
Yes, foot zoning, putting the body into emotion. Even if the foot zoner does not say a word about any emotion going on, your body knows how to release it. For instance, I have a couple clients who they are celiac, they have immune system deficiency, and they know they're a mess by the Western world, right? But they come for a foot zone and they will notice that they feel ornery after, or they feel angry after. And I'll celebrate with them. You allowed yourself a really uncomfortable emotion. How powerful you would allow that to come out of your body. Wait for that reprieve when the wave goes down in a day and you feel love and you feel peace. Just allow that to go through.
Okay, so that makes me wonder, does every organ have a negative and a positive emotion?
Mm-hmm. I like to call them like red light, green light, or trapped emotions, or emotions that want the opportunity to rise and become the polarity or the opposite of what they are, the expansion of the emotion. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, if someone is watching this and they have a lot of anger and frustration right now in life, like they're mad at someone or just so frustrated at someone, if they sat down with you in a foot zone, would you feel that somewhere?
Yeah.
And then you're able to help them release it?
Yeah. Yep.
And where would you feel that?
It's different for every single person. That's why the zone is so beautiful. We find different emotions. Now, primarily, I would go to liver. Maybe I'd look at gallbladder. Gallbladder is where a lot of hatred can build up. The kidney is where fear has the opportunity to be heard and to release through the body. That's why the foot zone is so powerful, is we get to tap into the individual and where they feel different things in their body. It's not standard. And that's the beauty of every single person's feet is so different. I love to be wrong, thinking, oh, this is where I'm going to find it. And then I sit with this person who's done life completely differently than I've ever seen. And I find it in the small intestines. And it's just this witness of how different and beautiful each person is and their experience.
Okay, so do you think people's health maybe goes not sour, whatever, goes to poor health because of emotions first?
I think it's a yes. It's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. And I do think the emotional has a strong hold on the physical. I think they all work together for our good. And I have this thing that really upsets people because life can be upsetting, but nothing has ever gone wrong. There is no experience in the body. I don't believe health goes sour. I believe life gives us an opportunity to look for something different. It led me to the foot zone. That does not mean my life is not messy. My life is always messy because I'm a human. But it's given me this skill to say, yeah, I can see how someone would count me out with this experience, or my health's gone sour, or I'm holding on to too much emotions from the past, but what if it's the layer I'm in right now that I'm ready to address and work on? What if that awareness was commonplace and we gave that softness to people when their health goes sour?
Interesting. That is really profound. That I'm going to have to think on that for a little bit. Okay, so I'm curious though, foot zoning has been, back to the physical sense, I should say.
Yeah.
Foot zoning has been really fun for me just to learn the very basics.
Yeah.
I'm not certified. I should one day learn how to do it all. But I love that you have an app that is so easy for people to use.
Yeah.
Because one time my 11-year-old girl was feeling like she had a cold coming on. And so I just got on your app and said, or typed in cold, and it showed me just real basics of what to do on her feet. Mm-hmm. And so anybody can do this, right?
Anybody. There's, in the foot zoning world, it's, you can only be certified to do this. And I am such a sass, and I've seen too many miracles to deny families the opportunity to do simple methods that can help the body heal. So we have a free app that are 13 of the most powerful, impactful things you can do. You do not have to be a zoner. And then we have a premium app that's like, oh, my daughter has a cold. Here's a 12-minute video that I can pop on, set her body into motion, and get on her feet. And that has been one of my biggest missions, is to empower homes. Because too many times we go to the doctor and they say, there's nothing you can do. You need to wait it out.
It's a viral infection. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, we'll give them an antibiotic after this many days. And I think antibiotics have their place. And what if there was something we could do that their body is capable of, and we get to connect and sit at their feet and love and nurture them differently? So that's my driving force for the app. This is everybody. Everybody could do this.
It's another tool that people can have to help their kids heal, help themselves heal.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious, what are some of those 13 things in there in the free app? Like, what are 13 basics?
Small intestines is a really big one. We also have one, it's like my favorite. It's gone viral over and over. It's your immune system. So right from your hip bones all the way to the top of your head, it's how your lymphatic system helps to defend and protect the immune system. And that one is just so key for any kind of sickness. Our immune system helps to filter all emotion. And so, you know how you feel crappy when you're sick and you're angry and you're mad and you're exhausted and you're depressed. That's your immune system working for you. So to put that into motion, we've got the pelvic floor on the free app. We've got the brainstem on the free app, the stomach, the lungs. The lungs is a big one for when those coughs come up and those middle of the night coughing attacks. And we don't want to go to the hospital, but we want to wait it out till morning. I've heard so many miracle stories about the lung reflex point in the middle of the night with a tiny baby, and that opened up the baby's lungs and they could breathe. Oh,
okay. I'm just thinking, this can be done on what age?
If you have feet and you're alive, it can be done. And there's a lot of rules out there. Some people say that foot zoning has to look a certain way. I just am a sass, and I don't think it does. When my sixth baby was laid on my chest, the first signal I did on her feet was the liver.
Really?
The first problems babies tend to have are with their liver, with jaundice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I believe the liver is what connects the body and the spirit together. It's how they come in together. And so from brand new babies I got to zone my grandma at age 99 and she died at 100. And to sit at her feet, there's just no limit on zoning.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so the other night, my niece, her little baby started throwing up. And so would you have foot zoned her like right then and there?
100%. It's so good for the stomach fluid. That's why I have the stomach in the free app. Once you pop onto that stomach, there's so many nervous system points in the feet. And you know, with throwing up, it can keep happening. That gag reflex when the vagus nerve needs attention. I love to just hold the point on my kids' feet when they're throwing up. And it helps to calm that down. And the body can still get out what it needs to, but more impactfully when they're throwing up. And it can slow it down. And I've noticed it pushes the stomach flu through quicker when you do that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, before that, you just said that you believe the liver connects the spirit and the body together. Mm-hmm. So explain that. What does that mean?
Yeah, so my friend and many mentors in this woo world of four bodies have educated and mentored me on higher function, higher wisdom. And I believe the liver is one of the most powerful opportunities our body has to connect, to filter. And I think the higher function of the liver there's a body and spirit connection. It is the brain of the gut. It does so much, because what do we hear the most about in this world? Sluggish liver, methylation issues, inability to detox. We've got to support the liver. That's one of your big missions, right? That was a journey that your body took you on to be the light for so many people. And the liver's huge too. If we look at the physical size of the liver, I remember getting a Body Worlds cadaver exhibit of the liver. It was my whole body. So when we look at how big it is, it's bigger than the brain. It has an important role in the body, and it is not just physical. It is a spiritual sense of how we are connected to our body.
That is so interesting. So spiritually, it's what's helping us keep in tune with the higher power?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I do. Because what keeps us from something bigger? Rage, anger, when we become it instead of experience it. When we can push it outside and look at it and say, I am feeling really angry right now. Instead of, I am angry and I've become angry, which we all do. We all get to take that opportunity. We get to look at it and say, I'm feeling really angry right now. And oftentimes that's when we get stagnation or methylation issues in the liver. We're either not listening to that feeling or we've become it and we're good at it and we can't let it rise.
So instead of saying, I am angry, it's, I feel angry. Yeah. You're looking at it differently.
The Irish say the anger is upon me.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I know when you foot zone me that my spleen is always, should we say, an issue?
I don't think it's an issue.
I know that you always look at it a good way.
It's the gift. So this is what I love being on Carlin's beat. And this is why I have my books here with me. So I want to show what a session looks like. So your marker on your feet, your left foot, that spleen marker is significant. Nothing's gone wrong. It's not diseased. It's where you spend time learning wisdom. So the higher function of that spleen, and I want everybody to just think about Carlin's mission, about what she's helped us with and that the light that she is shining all around the world. Your spiritual function of the spleen, it helps to create balance, stability, contentment, security, peace, and fulfilling relationships. It establishes clear boundaries. It promotes clear thinking and spiritual nourishment. It filters out old beliefs and ideas. I hope you can feel the power of your life in every single one of those wisdom functions, of the experience you had with your mental health, of your powerful statements against what is good for the body and what is not. Those clear boundaries, that's where you thrive. That's where your goodness gets bigger. Like every single one of those. Balance, stability in our food system, in our ingredients. And it's not been easy for you to get there, right?
No, it hasn't at all.
But nothing's gone wrong.
Well, I'll say that there's been lots of challenges with my business and things that I'm doing, but we have gotten through it. But I do love what you said about getting rid of old ideas and bringing in new ideas, because I sort of feel like that's what Just Ingredients is doing. What I'm doing is we're trying to disrupt the market a little bit and saying like, yeah, for years and years, we have done everything without nourishing foods. We've made foods from artificial things. Let's get rid of that old idea and bring in a new idea of making food from food.
Which is creating contentment in homes, peace, security in our food products. Like everything that I can see is reflective of your life. You have chosen so well in your opportunity to work through it and rise up.
Well, that is so nice of you to say. So I'm curious though, if another foot zoner felt my spleen, who only looked at the negative things, what would be the negative aspect of it?
They might say that your immune system is compromised or that your body has a hard time filtering things out. And maybe they would say that there is weakness in the body there and you get sick easily. And maybe that's been your experience. And look at I just heard you talking to people before this. Oh, if they're sick, try this supplement. This one is going to help so much. Or, I mean, that's just the whole point of what your mission in life is. And maybe another foot zoner saying it's gone wrong would not leave you feeling as empowered to do that, right? But if someone could show you the reflective hopefulness of why nothing's gone wrong and your spleen's giving you the wisdom for your life, we're going to feel more connected to our mission in that way.
Interesting. I love that because I don't feel like I get sick a lot at all. But I feel like I take care of my body in a good way with nourishing foods and supplements and things that it doesn't get sick often, knock on wood.
Right. And another thing with the spleen and your immune system is sometimes it's very good at detecting when ingredients aren't good for your body. Sometimes when our immune system has a hard time, gluten becomes a problem. Certain types of dairy with additives can become a problem. Sugar can really throw the body off. And the spleen is a good detector of saying, hey, it's your immune system here. We need some help.
That's interesting. Okay, I'll take that as a 100% in my body because I can tell instantly if I've eaten something without the good ingredients. Oh my goodness, I can feel it. In fact, I tell people that I have a digestive system of lace, made from lace, just because I can tell if it's got seed oils in it. I can tell if it's got too much sugar in it. I just don't feel good.
And that gift developed for you in one of the hardest experiences of your life.
That is true.
Right? And so that is the wisdom of your immune system. You've been gifted an incredibly sensitive immune system for good reason.
Ooh, I love that. See, you take everything to the positive. I never thought of a digestive system made of lace, as I call it, as a gift. But you're right. It's protecting me from falling into the terrible depression that I once was at.
Because probably when you were in that space, you've said many times, I was eating cereal every night. I was having sugary stuff because you had turned off your wisdom in your body, right? You'd become...
I didn't know any better.
Right. You would become the dysfunction. You would maybe bought into what wasn't going well. And then our bodies have this signal to wake up, rise up. There's this green light that goes off in us, and we're given these experiences that often look so messy. And you've learned through your wisdom to not be a victim. How is life working for you? And that to me is like the best shining example. Nothing has ever gone wrong in the body.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay, let's talk about grief and trauma because foot zoning can really help with grief and trauma because grief and trauma is really trapped emotions. So let's say there's people out there dealing with both of those. What do you suggest to them?
Every person is dealing with grief and trauma in some way. And again, I think with grief and trauma, how I've seen it shown up in my own life. Foot zoning has been so powerful. I just received a zone the other day from a friend, and going through a hard experience, as we all are in life, having her gently sit at my feet through my own grief and my own learning right now, I felt so validated and so witnessed and so loved, as I could honestly share my experience in the foot zone of what grief and trauma looks like for me, what life is teaching me right now. And that's the gift of everyone in the experience of being human with grief and trauma. They get to be witnessed.
Okay, so does it help alleviate the grief?
Yeah. It validates it. How many of us just fight and shame ourselves in grief? I shouldn't feel this way. If this would just go away, I would be better. I would feel fine. And so we get stuck in these mental loops in our mind. And when we sit down and our body and spirit have a chance to stop fighting and stop shaming and remember, oh, I get the privilege of feeling grief because I've loved so much and this is where it's showing up in my body. That's powerful.
See, again, you turn it to positive. I've never once this whole year in my grief journey because of my sister thought of it as a positive experience.
It's a
You have it.
powerful human experience,
A positive experience because I loved so much.
Loved so much. How blessed are we that we get to grieve over things that show a wide and vast opportunity to feel as a human. It's how we relate. It's how we connect. It's why people love you, because you can share those experiences so beautifully. You let us into your life. We feel a part of it. We are cheering for you. I think it's powerful when we connect our opportunities, and the Foot Zone has shown me how to do that in everything I've been in life.
That is incredible. Okay, but I'm curious about the reality of this. Do you have to have a Foot Zone? Say someone going through grief. Do you have to have a Foot Zone every week, every other week, every month? It doesn't matter.
I'm a sass. Some people have rules about the Foot Zone. I say when you can get still enough and that impression comes to your mind, that's a beautiful time for a Foot Zone. I know.
What if you can't get still enough?
For sure, you get real still when you make that appointment in the Foot Zone. And sometimes it takes us a couple of times before our mind can even calm down enough. It's a practice. Foot zoning is a practice. When my daughter Grace was going through our opportunity all those years ago, we found that first Foot Zone lasted about 10 days, and then we saw the spiral start. So we found for her body, it told us every 2 weeks she needed a zone for 3 months. And then that impression just came to her mind when she needed it, and she could take control and take the power to say, Mom, it's time for a Foot Zone, which is another incredible part of foot zoning. We learn how to regulate our bodies, and we learn when we need that and when we're dysregulated, and when the grief has become so heavy that we need the alignment, we need the stillness, we need the awareness. So it's going to look different for everybody. And I always give people permission. You can hate your zones. This cannot be for you, but you have taken a step you didn't take last week. You have done one thing, and you're one step closer to where you were before. It's not wasted. Even if it isn't for you, you and I both had terrible foot zoning experience, not terrible, but where they weren't positive anymore. I wasn't feeling hopeful. And it led us to something different. It led me to a different way to foot zone people.
I love that you just are in tune to know when the next zone should be.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so someone going through grief, they might need zoning for a year, 2 years, couple years.
Yeah. And this is, again, why I love the app. I have so many families. You've had your whole family go through grief, right? It can be pricey for families to get all of them getting what they need in another world of grief that we weren't prepared for. So that's why I love the app, because we have so many opportunities where we can be doing this for each other. And just rubbing somebody's feet. And I know I'll get booed out of the foot zoning world, but just rub feet. It doesn't have to be proper technique. Connecting to someone at their feet. We have so many studies showing what it does, the closeness that it brings. So if people are in that experience of grief and trauma, pick up some feet. Go rub someone's feet. If you want a full professional foot zone, a gift. You will be changed because of it. I promise that. And do it as often as you need. But if you want to connect with people in your family or friends doing hard things, just pick up their feet and start rubbing them.
Because I love that you said to me earlier, no one's killed someone by rubbing their feet.
Turns out just walking doesn't kill us, you know? Like nobody has ever dropped dead. And we get into a lot of rules in any of our professions, right? Of you can't zone this, you can't do this. They'll drop dead if you zone this. You'll catch this if you zone someone with that. Rub some feet. Pick up some feet and connect with somebody. Sit below them, witness them, look up in their eyes. You will be changed when you do that.
Okay, so you have the app, so someone like me can just look at the app and do it on my kids. But then you also do have a school where you teach people how to become professional certified foot zoning or zoners.
Yeah, that's my passion. That is where my heart lies. It's changed me. I'm 8 years into teaching students and being with practitioners. And the curriculum of teaching someone how their body works and what emotions are going on and what power they have, I will never tire of that work. And we have an incredible directory of zoners we've trained all over the world. That is where my heart lies, is this narrative, this message that nothing has ever gone wrong, as messy as life gets. And this is how we can attend to and love other people.
Okay, so those that are listening, I know may be like, oh my gosh, where's this directory? Where? Because these students, you said you have a directory of people that have finished
Yeah.
Your school?
Yeah. Yep. It's thefootzoningmethod.com. And we have a directory of well over 250 foot zoners all over the world. And so many of your listeners love the foot zone. I have had so many foot
Good job,
zoners.
listeners.
Right. So I had an entire class one time of everybody that you had sent my way for foot zoning, and they are incredible zoners because you've educated them.
I love hearing this.
Like, you've done such a beautiful job of educating people all over the world, looking for the end, empowering our homes, and I have been the benefactor of seeing that truly in play in people's lives, and it's so powerful.
I love that they're looking for the and.
Yeah.
The A-N-D, the and part to put the Western and the Eastern together.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Okay, so people can find one of those practitioners, or they can go to your school if they want to learn how to do it themselves and then create a business on their own or learn it just for their family.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, talking to you, I'm actually really feeling like I need a foot zone. But I'll tell you why. I do feel like it is truly like a reset. Like I feel charged and ready to go again after one. So does it help with energy then?
Yeah, it does reset. It reboots the computer. It completely takes where you're at. It raises the frequency. It raises the love in your body. It helps emotions that are hanging on and stagnant. It helps them to clear from the body. It is truly, I'm still in my zone high from a couple of days ago, and I have found the best reset in the 4 bodies.
Okay, so I have a lot of listeners that tell me on a daily basis, like I struggle with energy. By 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I am exhausted. I have to go get my Diet Coke. Like that's probably one of my biggest complaints.
Mm-hmm.
And so does foot zoning help with this?
Yeah, 100%. Just because we know that has a lot to do with the endocrine system. We know that's a lot having to do with the thyroid and hormones in the body. And my first thought to that is when I hear that, why aren't we taking a nap?
Who has time for a nap?
Right?
Heidi.
Listen,
I wish I could take a nap.
Right. But 20 minutes to be still. I loved your post the other day about what can we do free? What do we do that doesn't cost money? What if what was being begged for was 20 minutes of being still in a nap? Right? I wonder what would happen if we did that instead of putting the caffeine into our bodies and pushing those adrenal glands harder and pushing our endocrine system harder. Because to me, when I hear that physically, well, if they're going for caffeine, they're trying to push through something. What if the wisdom was to sit with something, was to feel?
But it's so hard with these new moms too that have little toddlers and they can't go take a nap.
Not a nap, but be still for 20 minutes. That's an incredible reset.
Just let their mind relax.
Put the phone down, give themselves permission to listen to their mind just for a minute and to show some self-compassion for 20 minutes.
I do love that. When I am having a really stressful day, I'll go out on our front porch and just ground and sit there without my phone for like 20 minutes. And I do feel refreshed and more ready to go.
And if that's what the wisdom of the body needs, that's what we do. Can a foot zone act as Diet Coke? Probably not, but it will tell you what the message is that your body is trying to tell you. And if you're so overwhelmed, you are having to bring in other things to push through, I would really consider a stillness practice. And maybe that is a foot zone. Maybe that is that reset, right?
Okay, so one other thing that my listeners deal with all the time, because I get questions every day about it, is hormonal imbalances. Like especially we've got people going through perimenopause, but then people just with, high estrogen or low progesterone, all the different things. So does foot zoning help with balancing hormones?
Yeah. In fact, in that premium app, I created hormone imbalance and I gave the markers for the pituitary gland, the thalamus, hypothalamus, and pineal gland. And those are the master generals in charge in the body. One thing I love teaching students is you get the secretion. It's all about secretions with our hormones. And the first one that gets secreted is our pituitary gland. It sits right behind our nose. And the first thing that pituitary gland does, it's in charge of the thyroid, the conversions with the liver. It helps to support the reproductive glands. The first thing it gives is to our pineal gland to create melatonin. It tells me sleep is the most important thing for hormones to restore.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So foot zoning is incredible because we hit on every endocrine part and every reproductive organ. And we get to speak to the spiritual function. It is to create. It is to give permission to use our intuition. That is the purpose of our endocrine and reproductive systems, is to nurture ourselves, is to nurture others, is to listen, is to show up, is to go out and get work done in inserting ourselves in life and creating. And too many of us are taking ourselves out of that game. We're playing too small.
Ooh, I love that. But are we playing too small because of the hormonal imbalances?
Or is it our thoughts and feelings about where we're not good enough and can't go out and create? Why we're too busy to nurture ourselves? Why we can't give ourselves permission to feel our feelings?
Interesting. Okay, so that could be fear, though.
Mhm.
Fear of not wanting to be brave to go out there to do what we should do.
Yeah, could be mental download about where we've limited ourselves and now we have emotions going on of fear.
So does foot zoning help qualities, characteristics in somebody, like to be more brave?
Yes, 100%. When we can reset that area and reset that organ, give them that inclination like, hey, here's your spleen marker. That's so interesting. This is going on. I feel so much more empowered. I go out and I'm like, yeah, I remember that about myself. Instead of, man, I'm a mess. My brain's on fire. There's such a difference when we empower people with that gift. We do want to create more. We do remember ourselves. And we do go out and change the world after a foot zone. We change our world. We change the world of the people that are around us because we know ourselves better.
I love that. Okay, so if someone's listening and has never had a foot zone, let's just explain to them that what would happen.
What would
'Cause
happen?
now it sounds like it's some woo-woo practice, but it's not.
It's not. Well, first of all, I'm going to go to an incredible practitioner, and everyone has a different way of taking care of you. But the thing about foot zoning is it's very thorough. There's over 200 techniques on the feet. So when I teach someone a foot zone, you're going to be sitting with them for about 70 to 90 minutes. This isn't small. It's not short. This is fully resetting. And one thing that I love teaching the foot zone is I do not teach heavy pressure in the foot zone. Because of everything we just talked about. When I'm feeling the emotion of anger and rage, I don't want someone beating the heck out of my feet and white knuckling in a chair. And there are a lot of techniques that believe if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't work. That's not how I want to feel. I don't want someone pummeling me when I have a hard emotion. So you can expect from our directory a very gentle foot zone. It feels incredible. It's the best foot rub of your whole life. And for 70 to 90 minutes, truly, even if you don't believe into the woo, it is the best foot rub you'll ever get.
Okay, so I have a question about a session because I ask a lot of questions while they're zoning me, and I'm always like, oh, what are you working on right now? And you know that. I'll ask you. I'm like, what are you working on? Oh, why that hurt? Oh, why this? And then some people will tell me after a foot zone, oh, I hated it because they didn't say anything, so I don't know what they even worked on or anything about my help. And so is it normal to sit through one quietly? Should they be talking to you?
You need to find this foot zoner for you, for sure. And I do have lots of students that they are stillness masters. They love people to shut off their brain and they're quiet while they go to work. And they don't feel like that extra part is what they want to give clients. They feel like the gift of quiet and being still, and they are still people who offer that. And then I have practitioners they love to answer the questions. They love to be like, oh my gosh, look at this going on in your stomach. And oh my goodness, look at your cerebrospinal fluid. This is going on right here. Have you been having headaches? We're going to pop this open and you're going to feel so much better. I think this emotion was going on. So for a foot zone to work, we have to remember that our bodies know how to heal. And when they're set into motion, that's when healing happens. It's a bonus if you're curious about what's going on in your body. That's important for your healing. And you can connect with a foot zoner who does that. That's a match made in heaven, is finding where you're at and what you need. And give yourself permission to try different zoners for different times in your life and different experiences that you're going through.
Okay, that's good advice. So find one that's good for you. And if you want quiet, great. Find one that's quiet. If you want one that's going to explain everything, find that. I actually want your book while you're zoning me, because I actually want to look at your book. Shows like every organ, right? And it shows like the physical part, the spiritual part, the emotional part. And so is that book something that people can buy?
They get when they go through the foot zoning program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they will get that when they are a practitioner.
I may just have to go through your schooling just to get that book.
Yeah.
I'm always like, Heidi, just hand me that book. Let me
see
what each organ is trying to tell me.
Yeah.
All right. I have loved talking about foot zoning with you. I hope you listeners go find someone to foot zone, or you guys, this app I'm telling you is incredible. It saved me when my daughter had that stinking cold and she was so ornery about it. And I just got your app and it showed so simply how to do it. So her app is amazing. But where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Heidi McKay or the Foot Zoning Method, and then we have a website too. So thefootzoningmethod.com.
So check her out on Instagram, her website. But I do have a question. You said if they have feet and are alive, you can foot zone them.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I hear like, oh, so-and-so wouldn't foot zone me because of this and this. And I should have asked you that earlier. So can anyone get a foot zone?
The only time I would say, there's a couple of times I would say when people can't get a foot zone. If they are under orders like radiation orders with their thyroid and they can't be around anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's doctor's
Makes
orders,
sense.
right? And then I've had an experience with people in the ICU. If someone's been off their feet for a significant amount of time, I would do a very gentle foot zone. But I've also had people in the ICU where it's absolutely saved them when they're in that really intense hospital experience. But very often, there is no one I exclude from the foot zone. And that goes against a lot of foot zoning rules in the world, that a lot of people have established that we shouldn't zone people with certain things. I'm just a sass. I'm too curious. I don't believe in me. I believe in their body.
Well, that just goes to finding a foot zoner that's right for you.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
exactly what it comes down to.
Yep.
I love that. I loved what you've taught about foot zoning, you guys. Foot zoning is amazing. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And I always end the podcast this season with doing 5 rapid fire questions.
Love
So
it.
really quick answers.
Okay.
Okay. So first one, what emerging health topic excites you the most?
Oh, emotions and health.
Okay. What is a piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
Keep going.
What's the one health practice you'll never compromise on, no matter how busy life gets?
Stillness.
What's your favorite Just Ingredients product and why?
2, the serum, that nourishing routine for your face. Taking our face in our hands and witnessing ourselves is my favorite, and it's such nourishing ingredients. Your vitamin C is one of the most feminine vitamin C's for women's bodies, and I am into supplements. I do all of it. When I use them for myself and when I've recommended them to other people, they are so good with helping close the gap with anemia, with energy levels. The way you formulated that and the ingredients that you used, I have never seen. They're pink, they're feminine, and I believe they are so powerful for women.
I've never heard my vitamin C called feminine. So I love that. We could talk a whole thing on feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the best ingredient to life?
Oh, love. Always love.
I love that.
Always love. There's always enough to receive and there's always enough to give.
I love that. And it just shows in how you do your foot zoning, because you love every organ and every opportunity and every emotion that that organ could provide for you.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, so good to be here. Thank you.